anglers, and welcome to this week's Indian Lake Fishing Report, brought to you by Mike's Bait and Tackle, Route 235, Lakeview, Ohio.
Thanks, Lindsay, and good morning. That fall bite is in full swing. The second annual Sawguy Slam has been crazy. The first, second, third place has been back and forth. It's been hot. It's not too late to get in it. It ends December 1st. So if you still want to get in it, go to the second annual Indian Lake Sawguy Slam on Facebook page and download that Fish Donkey app. Make sure you go over to the Facebook page, Indian Lake Fishing Reports, for the Fish It Forward program for the youth. Go over there, like that page. There's a lot of great youth giveaways going on this month and next month. Next month for Christmas, youth, you're going to love it. Man, let's talk about the sawguy real quick. This weather, man, sawguy love it nasty. The nastier, the better. The South Bank, the West Bank, and Dream Bridge have been the hot spots for sawguy right now, and they're very accessible. Folks, today I wanted to change this report up because I wanted to concentrate on helping the bank angler. Those that are new, those that have been fishing for a while, that just want to learn how to catch more fish right now. So get that cold weather gear out and let's go fishing. Let's talk about some crappie tips right now. Right here I've got a 1/32 ounce jig head. I want to show you how to tie a simple loop knot. You're going to run your string through the eyelet there. Pull it up. Give yourself plenty of slack. Pinch them together. Make a circle around your fingers. Take that jig, drop that through that circle 3 times. There's your 3rd time. Okay? Wet your knot. And just pull it. Okay? Now, what's going to happen? When you've got just a regular knot tied to this jig head, your jig's going to hang straight up and down like that in the water. With this loop knot, you have water pressure. That water pressure while it's in the water is going to bring the ass end of this bait up in the air. And it's going to swim like this naturally, which will let that tail and everything move. You're going to get a lot more strikes that way. It looks a lot more natural, and it'll swim a lot easier. Your 1/32 ounce jig head, when you're pitching docks or shooting docks, or just trying to locate crappie out in the water without a bobber, remember 1/32 ounce falls approximately 1 foot per second. So you can do a countdown on these and figure out how deep the crappie are hitting. That first crappie is the very most important crappie that you're going to catch all day. It's going to indicate at what depth they're at that day. The shad fry were born in the summer. Okay? Right now, the crappie are feeding on that shad fry that was hatched. Now, this is going to be about the size of the shad fry, 2-3 inches long. So I like using this style body here, like a Bobby Garland type style bait. It'll match the hatch. There's a lot of action on these baits. There's different manufacturers out there that make this style, but this is one of my favorites. The green and black or chartreuse is always a go-to. If you want to get a little more aggressive, there's another Bobby Garland shad. Just a little bit bigger body, but it's a natural shad color. This does very well. If you want to catch crappie right now, you'll catch the stragglers in the daytime under the docks. But the crappie are biting at night. Go right before dark, start fishing. Start at about 2.5 foot, 2 foot, and start adjusting your slip float down in 6-inch increments. This is another aggressive bait I like to use this time of year. It just happens to be a Bobby Garland Moglow. A lot of action on that tail. The black and chartreuse paddle tails do well also this time of year. They're pretty aggressive. But make sure, folks, even though these baits are aggressive, make sure your motions are slow. Lift the tip of your rod about 6 inches. Let the bait come back to you real slow. Remember that 1/32 ounce jig falls at about a foot per second rate. So when you raise that rod tip, that line's going to start coming back to you real slow. It's probably coming back to you about a foot per second. For those crappie fishermen that want to catch fish and want to go out at night, if you do not have a headlamp, a lantern, no problem. There's plenty of spots around the lake that have night lighting. Black Hawk is a perfect example. If you go to the furthest point past the boat ramp, there's an overhead night light. And there's docks right there, and then there's a lot of open area to the left. That is a perfect place for fishing for crappie at night. I didn't want to get into talking about perch or anything else because it's a given. They're everywhere. You're going to catch them. Even fishing for sawguy or fishing for crappie, you're going to end up catching some. I bet you all would like to see what's all in my goodie boxes, wouldn't you? Maybe one day I'll do a tackle dump and show you a bunch of stuff. Don't leave out the old trusty double flies. They work wonders, and they're tough. Let's talk about the guys that want to go out and throw up towards brush piles or stumps, fallen timbers. I like using one of these jigs. And I'll tell you why. It's a hatchet head. It's got a couple streamers on the back. Seems to get their attention. But what's really great about this is it has a thinner gauge wire. Red sickle hook. And what that'll allow, and I know people are tired of losing jigs, man. I go nuts when I lose one of my favorite jigs. This red sickle hook, being a thinner gauge wire, it's tough, very sturdy. But it will allow you, when you get hooked into a stump, it'll allow you to pull this free. Your hook will bend out, and you can bend it back many, many times before you ever ruin the jig. This is the only thing I'll use when I'm fishing around timber. So get you some red sickle hooks on a jig head and put whatever bait on them, or you can get something like this. Works great, man. You'll keep this jig for a long time. I've done very well on these crappie magnets. I've used this the last 3 times I was out and caught a lot of bass and a lot of crappie here the last 3 days that I've went out. That tail's got a lot of action. It's a split tail. Weird looking jig head, but it works well. First time I've tried them out here. We've had a lot of luck here lately too on some nice little baits that was sent to me from a mega fishing company. They sent me a big bag of all different types of flavors here, and I've had a lot of good luck on them here lately. Mega Fishing Company, folks. Look them up on Facebook. Don't forget Mike's Bait and Tackle neither. I'm still using them jigs. I have great luck on them jigs. Panfish, crappie, bigger fish. I've caught everything on them jigs. So let's take a look here. Don't forget the tube baits. I don't use tube baits a lot, but they do work well. Let's talk about sawguy and their habits. Nasty, nasty weather fish, man. You know, guys were out in this wind yesterday and this cold front moving in. They love it. I mean, they love it. And they're using jerk baits, vibes, and swim baits. Here's one I like to use. Don't overlook the Berkeley power bait. These are tough little bait. It's a little smaller profile. It does well. But I'd like to explain to you what's going on with the sawguy. You know, nobody likes to fish with the wind in their face, but that's what it takes to get the big ones. Unless you're out in a boat fishing them weed lines, because that's where they've been staying till you get a storm coming in, a lot of wind or rain. And I'll tell you why. Zooplankton. When you get a lot of wind or rain, you're stirring up the zooplankton. The zooplankton's what the shad feed on, okay? So you're going to want to keep your face in the wind, especially on a point, okay? That's going to blow that zooplankton in towards the point or the rocky point or the bank. The shad's going to come in and start to want to feed on the zooplankton. And in turn, them sawguy are smart. They're right behind them. They're chasing them. They're going to get a lunch. So that's where you need to be, with your face right in the wind. Not only that, right before dark, make sure you're out there, whether it be in a channel or a rocky point on one of the islands. Get out there. That's when they're hitting, right before dark. And it's just starting to turn to dark. You're going to start slamming them. Like I said, the South Bank, the West Bank, and Dream Bridge has been the hot spot for the tournament. Okay? All three of them. But these cold fronts like this, like we had last night, drive them fish in up through the channels. And they'll prey on the shad. So I hope these tips today have helped you out. I get a lot of comments or messages on my Facebook page from a lot of beginners, or even people who've been fishing for a while that want to catch more fish. And I love that, man. I love you guys' comments. I'd appreciate it if y'all would share my page, my YouTube channel with people. Keep the comments up, and I'll keep coming up with more things that could potentially increase your catch. So I love being able to help people, and sometimes I learn from you guys too. So until the next time, tight lines. Get out there and go fishing. Bundle up, folks, and be safe.